So, hello, hello. We are still waiting and for our Facebook guests. We are already live on Zoom. And there we go. Welcome. Welcome to eVision Live with Dr. Alexandra Kleeberg.
And Dietrich Busselkamp. Today we have two very special guests, Bettina Flossmann and Ulrike Arndt. It's
Lat Live.
And Lat Live. I think our English followers probably can pronounce it. It's Arndt Lat Live. Okay. And we have this online open office beyond lumps and bumps. So to my left and to my right are two wonderful women who have not only survived cancer, but who went on a transformational path through cancer as a gate, I would say. And you see, they are very alive, they are very cheerful, and they're very thankful for their path. And today we have a topic about fear and cancer and about our inner voice. And maybe one of you just starts adding your own experiences concerning fear and inner voice.
So I see it will be a very, very joyful meeting. So this is what we want to do, just to get rid of all the fear and about cancer and just to spread hope. And so I turn off my mic and you have the floor, you beautiful three ladies.
Thank you.
Okay, so I mean, from my own experience, I can say that fear has been one of the main issues I really had to learn to deal with after my cancer diagnosis. And yeah, it's been a journey. It's been an incredible journey. Like for me now, looking back, I can say, wow, I'm incredibly grateful to if I compare myself, looking at myself now and looking at myself after the diagnosis and even before the diagnosis, where I was living in fear too, but not recognizing it as such. I was living in a lot of tension and stress, and fear was there, but I think I got used to the fear and I was sort of pushing it away a lot.
And I think people didn't see you that way. You were a very courageous woman. Bettina traveled around the world alone for 7 years.
Very young age.
At a very young age. And so people wouldn't even realize that maybe the thriving force is fear or there is fear within, because you went on a very courageous path.
Yeah, on the outside. It looked like it, yes. But I think, I mean, that's what I'm very aware of nowadays. It's sometimes, people are not what they seem, what you see on the outside. And I can tell for myself, people were thinking, oh, she's a tough young woman and she's traveling on her own. But inside of me, I was very fearful. I was very sensitive. I was very shy. I was hiding a lot. I didn't want to be seen. I was very shy young woman. Basically pretending to be tough,
courageous,
kind of.
So even persons that look very strong can be sick, or there can be dark sides inside.
Oh, definitely.
Sure. You are also very strong on the outside, right?
Yes, that's true. Very vivid and vital, and very shy when it was more near, when it was with peer groups. And for me, it was the other way around. When I got the diagnosis, it was in a way I lost fears.
That's interesting.
I got very confidential into people, into my friends, and into me and my inner voice, because I think I had already when I was a child or young, I had a strong inner voice.
Mhm.
And I lost it maybe in my 20-year not so fortunate marriage, where I don't know the word, where I tried to be right, to support this family, this marriage, this husband. And by that, I lost my inner voice in a way.
And your inner voice,
Yeah.
Your inner wisdom, yes.
Starting with the diagnosis, or even less, when my doctor put the ultrasound, the sonographic.
Mhm.
She's a friend of mine, and when she took a deep breath while she did it, I knew, okay, I have to get an operation, chemotherapy, radiation. It was clear. And this was for me as a alternative doctor, medical doctor, who is more into homeopathics and psychotherapy. It was very releasing that I had this clear voice. Before knowing, it was a wisdom of my body.
Mm-hmm.
This clear voice that said, okay, we go for it. I want to live. Or I had no doubt about that.
You never feared death?
Very rare.
Being sick or dependent?
Well, no, not dependent. I felt weak, and I had pains. I had a very, very strong chemotherapy, but there I was sometimes desperate about how weak I feel and how many pains I have. But it was very rare that I thought I could die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was not in your mind?
No. Mostly it was that I felt back to this little girl, to the child who said, okay, tomorrow everything will be fine again.
Really?
Yeah, it was
Wow.
incredibly. It was, and my mother had told me that I was like this when I was a little child. Mm-hmm. When she couldn't give me something, or there had to be a
tension or struggle, or
to say no to something. Then I said, tomorrow, in the trust that tomorrow all will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
This, I don't know the English word for it, this extra times, this extraordinarily time changed my how I am in the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was like I tell it was like I was in God, or whatever it is, the higher intelligence or whatever, the unity, and God or the unity was in me. I was in connection. I was absolutely connected.
After the diagnosis. After the diagnosis.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
And was that a conscious decision you made?
No.
To connect, or it just happened?
It happened.
It just happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm so thankful for it. And this is, I couldn't give an advice to somebody. Mm-hmm. It happened, and I think this is the art that everybody who's in an extraordinary situation finds her own voice, inner voice, and follows or finds back to the intuition of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Of the what?
Of the child, the inner child.
Yeah.
It's also the awakening of the inner child in a way, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And is it then, was it like an allowance now to really unite?
No, it just came, it happened. Mm-hmm. It was an experience.
Starting with the diagnosis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the diagnosis opened up something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was an opener.
It was an opener. It was a door.
It was a door, an opener to your inner child, to your trust, to your intuition.
To my intuition. Yeah.
And what happened, like in these situations when you had this really strong chemotherapy and there was pain and you felt desperate, did you then consciously decide again to connect? or what happened in these moments?
Well, then I was in strong connection with my friends or my ex-husband who lives next to me. He was the one I put most weight on him. When I felt very bad, I went to him and you have to hug me. And then he could do what he before wasn't able to do. But when I was really in a bad situation, he could, and I got it. Yeah. And I have a wonderful bedroom. It's almost in the garden, and my bed sheets are in special colors, and I had them in orange. It was pure orange light, and it wasn't a place of being ill. It was my king size, no, my queen's bed. And often my friends came, I said, come here to me in my bed. And we rested in the bed. And
It's like a throne.
In a way. Well, normally I'm a very active and hectic and bit nervous person. And I came back to relaxation. I was lying there for hours, or in the bathtub. I was lying in the bathtub for hours, watching movies first in German, then in English with German undertitles, and this, and I learned to spread time, to enlarge in time without being bored. Or being, I have to do something. I have to still to rest down,
to enjoy, just being.
Yeah.
So fear has actually not been such a great issue for you.
No, it was astonishing for me. And like I told you, I took some therapy sessions on my further on therapist, and he once asked me, first time, what's your fear? Do you have the fear that you will die of this? And a very dark voice came out of my womb. It just came out and said, I won't die of this. What a question. The second part I didn't say, but and it was such a good feeling.
It was a relief.
It was really a relief.
And it was an orientation.
Boy, yeah, it was security, safety. Yeah.
And it came from deep within.
Deep within, yeah.
Because what I usually find out is that a lot of people were trying to get something from the outside, not to be fearful or to have orientation or what to do next or so. And I think we've talked about it all together, that a very deep issue is really to trust your own inner voice, your consciousness, or however you want to call it, and not to search outside.
Yeah, I think that's a very important step, because we are I think we all are conditioned to believe that outside of us there are the solutions. Then there are the big teachers, the gurus, the doctors, and they know everything. And that, for me also, that has been a very big step to trust that this little Bettina, she can actually make decisions and believe in herself and also say no to a doctor, for example, and say, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do something different, and to learn to be confident, actually, and to believe in myself. And I think that's so important to come back to our own knowing and to awaken out of this idea that healing is
help is outside.
Healing help is outside, or that anything is actually outside. We make ourselves always so, or I did, dependent, like my happiness from circumstances, how much money I had, how this went, how the weather is. Today's sunshine, great. So it's all these programs in us that I grew up in. I guess you too. As
Yeah,
well,
me too.
From my
Yeah,
parents and to for me this journey after my diagnosis is a journey into freedom. Yeah. Into freedom
yourself.
inside
Yes.
of me and to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from a very scientific orientated family, and I just read one book about cancer of David Savant-Schreiber, and this is a person who he's a neuropathic doctor, and a brain tumor was discovered, and he did all medical cure which was necessary, and then he was finding his way, and after some years he described it, and this was the only book I read about it, and this was good. I stayed in my naivety and this child.
That's the archetype of the child.
Yes.
I'm always thinking that's, I think, probably the most important archetype for healing, to be back into this innocence, into this wholeness, into this joy,
trust
and completeness. Healing means actually becoming whole, and the inner child is whole in a way.
And I slept and slept and slept.
So it's two very different approaches to fear. And you said with the diagnosis, fear awakened, and you said
it could be shown. I understood.
Yes. I think from that moment on, the fear inside of me became very obvious. I couldn't hide anymore from my fear because it was so much into my face. I couldn't neglect it. I couldn't hide from it. It was just really, really strong.
And what was the fear?
What was the fear? I mean, the ultimate fear was the fear of death. Yes.
And of suffering.
But it was as the end, as the end. But it was more like the suffering, and also I think I had a great fear in combination with that of that my daughter would lose her mom.
And she was 13 or something.
Yes, she was 16, 17. And I, interestingly enough, I lost my father when I was 16. So I wanted to really to do everything that I could be there for her, so that she wouldn't have to relive my traumatic experience. So that was a great fear of mine.
But the healing process actually started when you got out of that fear.
I think the healing process, no, I think it started much
With
earlier.
realizing the fear.
Because I think fear and feeling fear and feeling this, I think it has been a part of my healing journey. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, this I can say too. I'm from a family much traumatized by the Second World War, and I think there was a lot of anxiety, but it wasn't shown. My mother really pushed it down, and to show and to feel the own anxieties haven't been allowed, and I started more and more to show it, but with a diagnosis that wasn't.
Well, there came confidence.
Confidence.
It's very interesting. Yes.
And confidence in my friends and people, human beings, that they are with me. I really came to earth in this time. So nobody would have thought this, that I wasn't really on earth, but it's like a
now you're here.
I think I feel the same. I had, before my diagnosis, I very often had this feeling like I was like there was a veil around me.
A wall or
no, a veil.
Okay.
A veil between me and the world, and I sort of felt disconnected. And also for me, this diagnosis, it has been my wake-up call.
Awakening.
Yes, my awakening, and to really come out of this veil and to be here.
Yeah.
And how did you come out of fear?
Yeah.
I mean, this has been a process, really. It didn't happen overnight. No. I think one way that helped me a lot, there are different aspects. One is really to learn to be with fear. Yeah, so not to push it away anymore,
Not to suppress
but
it.
when it comes to say, to
Invite it.
surrender,
Welcome. Yeah.
basically to surrender and say, okay, take me, take me, and to really feel it, to open up completely, and also with my fear of death to say, okay, I mean, this was my worst case scenario, to say, okay, okay. If I can say yes to this, yes, then I'm going to die.
Yeah.
The fear lost power over me. And the energy of fear could just really flow through me and through my body, and it just felt really good. And after experiencing that for a few times, I learned to trust this process. And
That if
now,
you open up fear,
yes, I don't have to push it away anymore. When there is fear, and there are moments, fear comes, and I can be with it.
Yeah, and then it changes.
And then it's basically it's gone, because this energy is out of me. It's expressed, it's felt, I can feel it. That's one way. Another way is to realize that fear is only, basically it's a fantasy. It's a story in my head. And when I come into this present moment and I'm totally here, there is never any fear when I'm here.
Yes.
And I know now when there is fear, that there has been a thought that I've been grasping, and mostly a thought that which isn't very nice. It tells me something bad about my future, or what could happen, and worry or whatever. And I either become conscious and see it and say, okay, stop. No, I know this kind of loop where my thoughts are going right now. Or I say, okay, I come here right now, and as I start breathing and I come into this present moment.
And I think this is a very golden gate out of fear, because fear has to do either with our past, with programs that we've learned,
Yes,
or with our future, or with the zeitgeist who makes fear. Yes, if you have cancer, then this and that and that. And this is all in our head.
Yeah.
That's not, there's very little real fear. The real fear starts when the lion comes out of the bush and wants to kill us. But that doesn't really happen here, right?
Yeah.
We might have a fear when we cross a road and a fast car comes, but then we run. Then we don't really realize it as fear in that moment. We realize it as fear after we've survived this moment. So I think this is very important, to really analyze fear and to see that it has nothing to do with the present moment.
No, never.
Almost never.
And also I experienced it really, now looking back, all of my worst case scenarios I ever had in my head, none of them ever happened. Nothing. Not only in terms of my diagnosis, also in other areas of my life. None of these stories ever happened. Was only here in my head. And so to realize that fear is an illusion.
It's an illusion. Yes.
I like this story so much, and I heard a great interview this morning from Anita Mojani. You know her, and she talked about fearless living, and she described fear as the absence of love. So when you are really connected and you are here in this present moment, and you are centered in your heart, there is no fear.
Yeah.
And fear is just like a program. And she told this story, like when you enter a kind of darkish kind of room and you see something lying there on the floor, and you immediately think, wow, this could be a snake. And the program starts, until you turn on the light. You see, oh,
just a
it's
ribbon.
just a rope lying on the floor. And so I started to learn about my fear triggers inside of me. And so it's been a journey. And it didn't happen overnight. I became fearless, and I'm not absolutely fearless now.
Neither me. Sure.
But it seems as it doesn't really matter if you feel confident when you hear the diagnosis, or if it's your path into confidence. I think it's both very important for this healing path, that you are in confidence, in love, in this unity. And it's never too late. You can have it with the diagnosis, or you can have it half a year later. It's never too late for healing or for recovering, and open up to this big universe or God or consciousness.
Or at your last hours. I think my father, he overcame some things in his last hours, which came to a healing end.
Okay, so what do you want to say are the people who are watching? What are the main things, the main impressions, inspirations?
If you can come back to your inner child and trust more and more your intuition, what your heart says. Just in the Bible, in the Old Testament, it's the Gospel, no, not the Gospel, there's something else. Old Testament, there's a saying, be aware of your heart. The life is beginning with the heart. That's very important.
I think for me, it's this wonderful journey of awakening out of this little box where what I thought life was about, and these limitations I lived my life in, feeling like I'm this little human being in this body here, and more experiencing. It's not just something I read in books. I've read many books in my life, but now experiencing it myself, that I'm so much more than this body. And life is now. So every day I this is my intention. At least I don't manage it every day, but it's my intention to be every day my very best, as if it was my last day. Because it could be my last day, it could be your last day, everybody's last day. And to really value and appreciate every day that I'm here on this earth.
This is a clue for me too. And in one of my darkest moments, I said, I'm a psychotherapist, I said, what do you tell your patients? And I said, thank for the little things. And I started, and I felt how much it changes. So the thankfulness is a key.
So thankfulness is something you both say is very important. What I feel is that you sort of say, oh, it's consciousness, and you say it's the heart. So is that a contradiction? Is it a controversy?
No.
Is it both? Or how would you understand it?
I believe we are consciousness. We are consciousness focusing into this physical form we call our body. But what we are is consciousness. That is my experience when I meditate, and I'm meditating every day. I don't experience myself in this body. Yeah, I feel
During
connected.
meditation.
I'm connected to a bigger consciousness or to a space. Yeah, and this for me is the most wonderful experience I have now, because I don't feel disconnected anymore. And this little Bettina here, disconnected from the rest of the world, which I felt most of my life. I feel connected to a greater intelligence. That what you also say, you connected to this inner voice.
And this is a sense of consciousness as well. It feels to me.
Yes.
So it's the heart and the consciousness.
To feel your heart, it's consciousness. I would say. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, ladies.
Before you wrap up, please, and before I would like to ask you a question, maybe if you could give also some advice for therapists that are maybe watching, and what is your message to them? And before you do that, please, Alexandra and Bettina, explain a little bit on the forthcoming huge project that you are planning.
So maybe first the
advice is for therapists and doctors. I think
to encourage people to hear of their heart, to be close to the intuition, and to really listen to the inner voice. And there's a lot of methods how you can increase this. Yeah, that's my advice.
And we had a discussion before that you said it's very important for you. It was important not to call it cancer, but to give it a name with maybe even with a symbolic meaning, so it's less threatening. And that this journey can also be a transformation path. I think this is very important that doctors know that. And that they don't say this is the end of everything, but they say that's a gate. It's a gateway, and it's a wall that has been between you and the world, and you have to connect to something which is greater than you, or something like that.
Now I can say, I had cancer and I'm healed, but in that area, in this time, I didn't call it cancer. I called it a German word like crab. My crab had bitten me. And this was good because the word cancer opens up this dark tunnel of fear of death. And it's really to encourage people to avoid this, to open up this black tunnel.
And to use a language as a doctor, which is not a nocebo, right? To threaten people, but to encourage them to find back to their own inner child, to find back to their own intuition. And I think language is very, very important because that's the way we think. So give it positive images. You had the image when you lost your hair that you were a Tibetan nun.
And I got
my transformational path.
I got my initiation.
It was your initiation to being spiritual.
Transformed,
So I think Carl Gustav Jung called that the symbolic life. That he said people don't live a symbolic life. They just function in society. And it's really important for the nourishment of the soul to come back to this symbolic life, to see everything with a deeper meaning and with a holy and healing meaning. And so I think it's very important to encourage therapists to say, oh, you are on a transformational path. It's an initiation. Cancer is a gateway. And find your own intuition or your reconnection with yourself. Well, what's that doctors should say? How they can act.
Well,
supporting.
First of all, I would say it would be wonderful if there were doctors or therapists that themselves would open up a space and see, oh wow, there are so many possibilities of healing, and to really encourage people to investigate, because there are many possibilities, and to empower people that they can, like you both said, to connect and feel themselves what is the right path for them. So to really empower them to know that they have power themselves.
To empower them.
Because I think I do believe, I mean, also from the people I've spoken to with cancer, that fear is the main issue. And people are so scared that they feel they need somebody to tell them what to do. And so they are very it's also in this alternative medicine and supplements. There's also a lot of fear-based advice strategies there. And I think it's important to basically encourage people to really connect and
find their part,
come out of this, also this victim idea, and really to make these people feel, I can do something. Something in me has caused my disease. This I knew. There has been a cause inside of me, and knowing that, which is great, because only if I can take responsibility, then I have the power also to change something. As long as I see circumstances or other people as responsible for my disease, I have no power, no chance.
When I love to imagine things, and my creative medical practice is that there might be a diagnosis of fear, and the doctor says, oh, I have a psychologist, he is looking together with you for a situation that's stressed in your life, that were fearful, so we can go deeper with the causes of this diagnosis. And there might be another person who works with you on visions, where do you want to go, and another on how to come back to the present moment, how to connect with something that is greater than us. And don't worry, just we have a lot of tools and a lot of possibilities, and you can find your own way, and there are people to guide you on this new way. So this is my imagination on the doctors don't have to do it themselves, but I think they have to open up to see what are the causes, what are the possibilities, and how to come back into the body, into the here and now, and by this to this greater consciousness. So this is my vision of cancer therapy.
But what I was just thinking with taking responsibility, I think that was very important for me to realize that it has nothing to do with guilt.
Yes. That you have done something
I've done
wrong.
That I'm a bad person, and therefore I have this disease now. This is not what I mean by taking responsibility. Not at all.
This is very important.
So
I think.
Because very easily people.
To be good with.
Oh, I must have done something wrong.
Or you ate too much sugar, or you did this and that. So we were thinking of doing a no-go list. And this means no judgment, no guilt, no shame, no you have to, or you shouldn't,
don't have to,
or you don't have to. So there we were thinking of doing a no-go for doctors and therapists, and maybe some phrases which could inspire them to work in a certain direction.
I mean, I think the doctors, they have the same problem in a way than we as patients do. They are also, I think they want to do it right.
Sure.
They want to do the best. And there is a fear of not doing it right. And I think around cancer, there is a lot of fear also for doctors.
Sure.
And by that we come to our online congress, because we sort of think or feel that cancer is such like a dark demon. Like the one you might know from fairy tales, and the demon you have to come and say stop, and you have to look at it. You have to look it into its eyes. And that's what we want to do in an online congress, just to have a lot of people saying on research on cancer, on who practice with cancer victims. But I think this expression is not good. They're not victims. They're creators. They
I like the word cancer thrivers.
Thrivers. Okay.
Yes, I mean, yes.
We will have some interviews with them. We have interviews with family and with platforms that open up new information on cancer. So we really try to build up a platform to get ideas on what causes cancer, what are ways out, what visions are important, and how can we connect. So we invite you for that. It will start at the end of this year, and we are still looking for healing stories and for practitioners who might like to be interviewed on how they work with cancer clients.
Yes.
Bettina will moderate it. Maybe Ulrike will be there as well.
Yes.
She already did 2 interviews, one as a cancer thriver and one as a doctor.
Yes.
Yes, and this was a wonderful interview you had with you 3 had. So thank you so much for that. And maybe this encourages others to participate also and say, yes, here I have a story to tell. I'm a practitioner. I have so much experience. I want to share this with the world. We want to get out this knowledge into the world. There's so many stories, and every day we are discovering other ones. So I think this was a beautiful discussion. I had the opportunity to watch with you. Thank you so much.
It's so interesting. Like everything they say is like a puzzle to make this picture more complete or more whole. And I think it's all important, every part of the puzzle.
Yeah. But if somebody wants to join his story or a story of a patient, how can they do? Could you explain this?
Yes, let's just say they just join us. They write just an email, the best, to info@collectivehealing.com. Or they leave us, if you're watching by Facebook or YouTube, just leave us a message below in the comment section and we will come back to you. So this will be the easiest to do. So info, once more, info@collectivehealing.com. Yes, I love this new domain name. It's so much easier to tell than the one we had before. All right. So thank you so much. And I give you the last word and then we close up. We're already a bit over time. So, but I think it was really a beautiful discussion you had among you.
Okay. Thank you so much. And open your heart and start.
Thank you.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Das hat es vorhin aber auch schon gesagt. Dann hat man